There you are. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Dr. Cloud Show, and it is good to be back with you again today as we talk about life and everything that sometimes screws it up or makes it difficult. But there are answers, and that's what we do on this show. We look at the issues that come up in relationships and in your heart and in your gut and in your body and in your work and in your dreams and your goals and even your dog. We do some dog training on the show. So I need to hear from you. If we're going to do that, let me give you the number 844-940-2774. We'll get you on the air, 844-940-2774. Want to hear from you, want to talk to you. That's what we do. And also you can post your questions on the various social channels that we're on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can go see everything live. And if you want to listen later, download it as a podcast. All right. We are going to hop into it this morning. I'd say this morning, maybe afternoon where you are. It is morning here, though, sunny Southern California. And we're going to hop into it, and we're going to get to, we're going to talk about the thought of the day. I guess that's what we call it, the thought of the day. In a second, I want to remind you first, though, we have a big webinar coming up, a 2-hour live webinar called Can I Trust You? And that is coming up on February 21st. To register for that, you have to register to be able to see it. You go to boundaries.me/trust. Boundaries.me/ the word trust. And you can get all signed up. There's still some discounted pricing to get signed up for that. So hurry up and do it now. And also, I would say one thing, this is one of the things we've heard about our workshops. We have a number of workshops, 2-hour plus live workshops that when we do them, obviously we save them. And if you are a boundaries.me plus member, then you get access to all of the previous workshops. There's things like marriage and how to get a date worth keeping. Now, you should not do both of those, okay? If you're going to do the marriage one, you don't want to know how to get a date worth keeping. You're done with that. And if you want to get one, how to get a date worth keeping, shouldn't do that if you're married. So just want to keep those separate, okay? And then there's one, all things about depression. There's one about restoring your brokenness, which is really kind of, it's sort of my view of how things get healed, emotional problems and, when we're hurt and trauma and all that kind of stuff. It's called Restoring Your Brokenness. There is a great topic in what we call it? The Art of Confrontation is what we called it. In that one, we talk about how to have a difficult conversation. Difficult conversation is, I think Harvard describes it as when there's something very, very important, the stakes are high. Secondly, emotions are high. People really are amped up about whatever you're in conflict about or could be. It's threatening. And thirdly, you're coming at it from different perspectives. When you put those three elements together, you have a difficult conversation, and they can go the wrong way or the right way. And there are scientific reasons that we know that are more apt to make it go the right way. That workshop is on there as well. The overcoming dysfunctional family and destructive dysfunction in families. That one's on there. Reaching your goals, crush your 2022. Anyway, we have a lot of workshops along with the 90 courses plus 90 plus courses that live on boundaries.me. So go check out boundaries.me and become a subscriber, and you can have access. All righty, we're going to go to the thought for the day. Now, this one is, I start to say interesting. It is interesting because it's got so many nuances in it. But I also say it is interesting to me because of how often it comes up, and also how much it can be kind of a key to keeping people like stuck in harmful patterns, hurtful, destructive patterns in relationships sometimes. And that is the question of judging someone. Judging someone. Now, for example, I hear a lot of times very, very nice people, very loving people. They're in some relationship, and somebody's being. It could be anything from abusive to mean to just a snit to whatever. What they're doing in the relationship isn't good, or they might not be performing well, or just delivering what you need to deliver in a relationship. Relationships have responsibilities on both sides. Or they could just have a friend that is just dysfunctional, or maybe even destructive to themselves, with addictions, or sleeping around, impulsive, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, all of those things. And the person looks at all this, or is in that relationship, and they go, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be judgmental. So I don't really. Okay. That's the setup, right? For people feeling like they can't enter into confronting somebody about something. And I say confront in the kindest of ways. Confront doesn't mean you have to be mean, aggressive, adversarial, or anything else. I love the Latin roots of the word confront. It means to turn your face towards something, to face it frontally, to confront, to come together and face something. You can do that in the most loving of ways. But they're afraid to do that because they feel like, well, I'm judging that person, right? You can't judge others, and I don't want to be judgmental. Well, great. I don't want you to be judgmental either. And that's really important in the confrontation to make it work well. So we're going to unpack that for a few minutes. Let's look at what's going on and what is the conflict. Well, it's basically the problem of people evaluating other people, and then feeling like in the process of evaluating somebody and seeing that they have a problem, or seeing that they're being mean, or seeing they're being abusive, or seeing they're being self-destructive, in evaluating them, the evaluation is judgment. That's what people fear, and that's what they feel. Well, I understand that, but it's wrong. Okay? And let me unpack a few things about that. To judge someone means that you're sitting above them in some way. You're sitting above them in judgment, like a judge does. Okay? So what a judge does is sits above someone and looks at them, and from above them, what do? You can pronounce a sentence and you can condemn. That's judgment. And when we do that, then what we're doing is we're placing ourselves in the place of God over another person. And that's not a good thing. Okay. And so when Jesus says, judge not lest you be judged, we're not supposed to condemn anybody. And that's the big deal. When we're judging someone, I really feel like judging my dog, Finley, right now, because she's decided, I don't know why it is, but sometimes during the program, we will get deliveries or something like that, and she just has to do her job. And for those of you who don't know Finley and haven't met her, I've had her on the program several times. Finley is a very beautiful, high-functioning Doberman pinscher, and she likes to get to play guard dog sometimes. So that's what she said. She'll be quiet a minute. So when we are judging and we place ourselves above somebody looking down, there's a condemnation sort of element to it, and that emotional stance, that the I'm better than, I'm above, you're below, and the emotional stance of what does the Bible say that the law does? It brings about anger and wrath and condemnation and shame and guilt and all of that stuff. And it does not help. So that's what judgment is. And Jesus himself said, I did not come to judge the world. Now think about that. The only one who really had, the only human that really did have the right to do it, he said, I'm not doing it. What he said was, I'm coming to seek and to save that which was lost, and to help and to heal and all of that. And so let's start with that it has to do with attitude. Now, here's what it's not. Here's what it's not. It's not, judging is not seeing a problem. Let me say it a different way. When you see a problem in someone, okay, that's not judgment. That's just seeing reality and evaluating. That's what that is. And just like the Bible commands us to judge not, it also commands us to evaluate people. And also, when you evaluate people, to take action based on your evaluation. Now think about that. It says, I know I'm talking a lot about Bible verses today, but if you're not a person of faith, just, don't worry about that. Just listen to the psychological dynamics involved in it. When we're in relationships, you're going to see people and you're going to see things about them, right? And the Bible and psychology both say you better be careful who you're getting in a relationship with. And how would we be careful? The way we would be careful is by evaluating them. One of my favorite verses, it says in Proverbs 23, I think it is. It says the simple or the naive people just keep going when they see danger, but the wise see danger and they protect themselves. So you're with a person that the dynamics there are dangerous to you. They could hurt you. They could abandon you. They could be mean to you. They could be narcissistic. They could be gaslighting. They could be liars and cheaters and stealers, or they could just be detached or whatever it is. That's an evaluation that shows you that there's danger and you should really be careful. Listen to David. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something quick here. I don't know if you've ever seen me disappear from the screen. I'm going to close this door and see if it helps. Hey, Finley, it's okay, girl. Oh, I see what's going on. There's work going on in the next door neighbor's yard. So she's guarding us. We're safe, guys. Finley's got us. She's got us. We're good. Say hi to Finley. What was I saying? This is really disruptive to me. My brain is going crazy. It's back to the theme. It's really important to be able to see this stuff so you don't go forward. Now I'm going to just read you a great example of this. I love this passage. For those of you who are not into the Bible, listen to these dynamics. For those of you who are into the Bible, you're going to be surprised that all the stuff you've heard about, don't be judgmental. You got to be forgiving, which we do. You got to have, what's the word I'm going to go? Long suffering, forbearance to do all that kind of stuff. Yes, we do. And remember, one of the most important things you can remember when you read the Bible is the word and, because the Bible interprets itself and things go together. You can't say but, it's an and. Both are true. Listen to David in Psalm 101. He says, it helps when you have the right song. He says, I'll conduct the affairs of my house with a blameless heart. So he basically says, I'm going to try to kind of be not dysfunctional here. And I'm not going to approve of anything that's vile or destructive. So that's how people first get into trouble. They just let all sorts of destructive stuff into their life. But here, listen to this part. I hate what faithless people do. I will have no part of it. Okay? So first thing he does, now he doesn't say, I hate the faithless people. He says, I hate what they do, and I'm not going to participate. So that's the first evaluation. If you got friends, they're doing destructive things, it's okay to evaluate that and say, you know what, you guys, that's fine. If you want to do that, I'm not going to do that. Whoever slanders their neighbor in secret, he says, I'll put to silence. In other words, a gossip comes up to you and starts talking about a friend or talking about somebody else. What does he say? He says to them, I'm not going to have that conversation because she's not here. If it's destructive. I mean, sometimes we talk about friends to figure stuff out, to go help them or let each other know how somebody's doing. But you know the ugly stuff. Listen to this. Anybody with a haughty eyes and a proud heart, I will not tolerate. That is basically Hebrew for narcissism. Arrogant, judgmental, haughty eyes, people that raise the eyebrow and look down on other people and judge them and evaluate them in a bad way. And they think they're above everybody else. And they're trying to create an ideal image. And you're supposed to exist to make them feel wonderful. Stay away. That, you talk about narcissism and gaslighting and all that kind of stuff. He says, I'm not going to tolerate. Okay? It's just not going to tolerate being gaslighted. And then he says, my eyes will be on the faithful in the land, that they may, and I'm going to paraphrase this, they may hang out with me. And the people that are good guys, they're the ones that I'm going to ask to minister to me. They're the ones I'm going to turn to for support. So you've got to judge in the evaluation sense in order to tell the difference of these people. That's not a bad thing to do. And then he goes on, he says, nobody who practices deceit is going to hang out in my house, and nobody who speaks falsely will stand in my presence. I'm done with being lied to. Period. That's what he says. Done. Short meeting. You're not going to stand in my presence. I'm turning and walking away. You're lying to me. Every morning I'll put to silence all the wicked in the land. I'll cut off every evildoer from the city of the Lord. Now, if you're king, you can do that. But if you are the king or queen of your house or your apartment or your life, you can do that as well. Cut somebody off, maybe block them if they're very, very hurtful. So just think about your evaluation of people and how important that is. How important that is. I'm going to take a second and just read the passage to you. Very, very, let's go back. Very, 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 very straightforward, right out of the words here. I know if you're listening to some of the podcast, please Please forgive me. Okay. Um, it's basically out of Luke 6, and it says, "Do not judge, and you won't be judged." Wow. If you're accepting and forgiving of the people that you are evaluating, you're seeing somebody that's basically destructive, and you don't judge them, what does he promise you? You don't have to worry about being condemned for all the negative stuff that God sees in you. Wow. You just got a free ticket out of prison if you don't judge people. Isn't that amazing? We just named a bunch of crappy stuff that people can be. And God says, well, if you don't judge them, if you don't condemn them, okay, you won't be condemned. It's interesting. I'm pulling up the verse here, and you won't be judged. It says, "Do not condemn, and you won't be condemned." Here's the Greek meaning of that word: to pass sentence upon, to pronounce guilty. See how God just doesn't want any of that guilt stuff. He says, don't do that, and then you'll be forgiven. Now, I'm going to take also a little further step here when he says you won't be judged. Generally, we think of that about that judged by God, when that's true. But guess what? A big step in your resolving your internal voices that condemn you and judge you, one of the biggest steps in healing that is to stop judging and condemning others, because it's the same psychological mechanism. So as you become forgiving of these destructive things that you are evaluating in people and avoiding, flip it, and it applies to our internal psyche as well. Now, what in the world did I just say? Oh my gosh, what a plethora of healing. So picture this. If you are somebody that condemns yourself and attacks yourself and criticizes yourself, and maybe there are some things that you can't stop doing, one of the keys to that is, if you don't have that attitude towards others, then the attitude itself, that gun that sits in your head and shoots at others, is not going to shoot at you anymore. And also that frees up the evaluation to be able to evaluate your own behavior. And the more we are evaluating our own behavior without judgment, guess what happens? Impulse control increases. So you just got more control of yourself by stopping judging other people. Amazing. All right. So evaluate, don't judge. But please do not, because of the fear of being judgmental, cease to evaluate people. Sometimes you have to confront them. Sometimes you have to set limits. Sometimes you have to set boundaries. And you do it all in the spirit of love. And when those two come together, you're talking about growth on steroids. Very, very good. Okay, we got a line open. We're going to go to the calls here. We also have some calls, but you could call in right now, 844-940-2774, 844-940-2774 is the number to call. All righty. Let's talk to Isabel, who listens on Facebook. By the way, remember, you can listen on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or live, not live, later by downloading it as a podcast, and all three of those been used: Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We also have the live video as well. Okay, Isabel's got a question. How can I support a friend through a depression? She's isolating herself because of COVID fears and at-risk family she lives with. What are some options? Isabel, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show.
Hi, Dr. Cloud. Hello,
Hey
Dr.
there.
Cloud.
How are you?
How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing very well. Heading down to your part of town of California.
My part of town. Now, where are you from?
Well, I live in the Goleta area, but I'm driving towards the Torrance area. And I believe you had mentioned one time you were for Torrance.
I did not mention that.
Oh, just kidding. Sorry.
Well, no, I used to have a hospital kind of in the Torrance area, but I myself, I am a little north of there and more in the West LA area, Beverly Hills area. So, anyway, tell me what's going on with you. What's your question?
Well, my question is regards supporting a friend. I have a friend who, through COVID, has been very isolated, has an immunocompromised relative, and they have isolated themselves for the last couple of years. So
and when you say they have isolated themselves, to what degree has she had no contact other than with the family?
No contact with anyone other than her parents and her sibling and her sibling-in-law. They all live in the home? They all live in the home? Yes, they all live in the same home. They all had to move in together due to some financial restructuring during COVID.
Okay, let me get this straight. Literally, for 2 years, she hasn't had an in-person interaction with anyone outside of her home.
The only time she has gone out is to take her sibling to the doctor.
Wow.
She has not had contact with friends other than over the phone or digitally.
Wow.
That's it.
And do you think that the let's call them the medical reasons for this, whoever's in her family that's immune system compromised, is this what the doctors are saying?
No, this is a fear that her family has, that COVID will make the problem worse, so they'll lose someone. So they are, as a family, they've decided to stay very isolated. Even
I
working
think doctors
from home
would say that. I mean, doctors would say that if there are people that are more at risk, and we do need to be more careful. I was just wondering if the doctors were going that far and saying, don't even leave the house. Okay, so what's your question?
So over the last 2 years, I've talked to her continuously, at least once a month, more if possible. But I've seen her kind of downward spiraling to the point where she had shared with me that she was experiencing suicidal thoughts, and I've asked her if she'd consider going to a therapist, talking to a therapist, or calling the hotline. But she's uncomfortable with the idea. She doesn't really know if she can do that, especially since at home, she doesn't really have a lot of time to even be alone where she could have that privacy. So my question goes to, as a friend, what can I do to support her? I've talked to her, and I can see the downward spiral, and I sometimes do worry about her, especially when she shares that things like she feels very alone right now, and she wishes she had a significant other to share her life with. There's not much I feel that can be done right now in terms of going out and dating and meeting someone and forming a significant relationship.
That would be the last thing you would want to suggest to her. Anyway, she's in no shape to be dating, right? She needs some non-dating friends.
Yes, her cup is needing some filling, and I'm not sure what
Yeah,
else I
you're
can do
right.
to help support her and fill her.
Well, one of the things you could do is you could up the frequency of when y'all talk. You know, that's always something.
Okay.
Do you ever talk by in face to face, by Zoom or FaceTime or anything like that?
Sometimes, sometimes
Sometimes.
she yeah, she doesn't really like Zoom.
All right. Well, tell her you'll split it with her. Okay. Tell her
Okay.
you do really like Zoom, and so every other time y'all are going to talk on Zoom, because I think that that will be a little more sense of connection for her. I would also increase the frequency. But the other thing is, and what a good friend you are. God bless you. I wish there were more people in the world like you who would care and do something when people feel this way. The other thing that I would begin to, enter back into is and approaching is to try to help to be, I always use the term, be a bridge to help for her.
Mm-hmm.
If she's kind of on a downward slide, and especially if she's having any kind of self-destruct, I really would want her to talk to a good psychologist or a psychiatrist, and she doesn't have to leave the house for that. And you can tell her,
Mm-hmm.
you can help her get set up, and in a telemedicine. I've got a neighbor friend who's a psychoanalyst, and she was telling me that I can't remember the percentage of her sessions now are over, you know, telemedicine. They're over,
Mm-hmm.
they're not in person. It was a huge percentage. And she said they've been doing that. She's been doing that ever since they started. And so I would try to, in fact, I would do the groundwork to even try to say, you know what, I actually talked to a therapist and and I've got a potential appointment. She said, or he said, we could set up, and I'll do the first one with you. You could try that.
Okay, I can do that.
She might do
I
it. Say, the therapist said we can all log in together and we'll all be on the screen and I'll be with you, and let's just tell them what's going on and see what they might have to say.
I can do that.
Okay, try that. That's three things you can do. And then the next thing I would do
Okay.
is, and I'm sure you've tried this, but I wouldn't give up on it, is does she have a yard?
Her family is afraid of even going to the backyard. They have very strict policies in their family. So if she goes to the backyard, for example, when she comes back, she has to shower and change her clothes to make sure that she doesn't bring any germs back into her house.
Is that her
So
concern
she's
or her family's?
her family.
Okay, this is starting to sound a little bit more over the edge than is okay. I mean,
I
there's,
would not
to
disagree.
best of my knowledge, there's nobody says you can't go in your own backyard in a quarantine household. I don't know if that's
Yes,
out
I
there anywhere.
agree.
And so I would also, I would. This is another reason to talk to a good mental health professional, because it sounds like there are some ways in which she's being held psychologically captive and imprisoned by
Mm-hmm.
some of this extreme fear. And there's two things that are really bothering me about this.
Yes.
One is that she's not getting any outside anything. But the other is, it would be one thing if she were quarantined with sane people. And what you're describing is not normal thinking. And so now, not only is she away from most of her friends and contacts, she's also locked up with some people that are probably making it way worse.
Correct.
So she's got to have some normal input. And then the last thing I would say is I would find some good online Zoom groups for her and get her in one. Celebrate Recovery might have those. A church might have those. There are lots out there. I know our church has a lot of got a lot of online groups and Zoom groups and stuff. So she could do that as well. Okay. Got to talk to some more people,
Okay.
Isabel. I hope that's helpful to you, and God bless you for being a friend to her. I know we have a praying audience. They will pray for her right now. I guarantee you.
Thank you. Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay. And
Thank you so much for your
gratitude for your love and service to your friend, I'm going to gift you a boundaries.me plus membership where you get access to everything. So Albie will give that to you.
Dr. Cloud, I already am a life member, but would it be possible to gift that to her?
You got it. You got it.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Thanks for being a boundaries.me member. How have you liked it?
I've loved it. I've loved it so much, and I keep recommending it. So this would be a wonderful gift for her. And cool. I hope she really likes it as much as I do. Thank you.
At least that'll give her one more crazy person to talk to. I'm on the screen there and all that. So, all righty.
Thank you.
I hope that goes well. Thank you for your help. Okay. You're welcome. We take calls, but we also take questions that you post on social. And so where are we? Let me read one. I can't find them here in my, wherever we are. Yes, Albie.
I posted some into our group chat.
Oh, okay. I thought they were going to be on the other screen. Okay, got it. Here we go. Am I judging my daughter when I ask her to go to counseling? She has addictions in her situations when she keeps running from one relationship to the next. I try to encourage her without enabling. Oh, what a good question. What we were talking about earlier. No, you are not judging your daughter. You are evaluating and seeing destructive behavior, and you are doing exactly what a good friend, parent, anybody does. Look at this. I love this. Jesus said, I dim the world. Here's what he said. I came to seek and to save that which was lost. All right, everybody listen to these words. I want everybody to get in your head right now and think, what would it be like to live a life where you seek and save that which was lost? Now, I'm going to take it further. Don't just camp out on thinking, that only means I got to start sharing my faith more. No, that's not all that means. Listen to the words. I came to seek and to save that which was lost. Okay, seek, that is an active looking for. When you're seeking something, you're looking for something. You're looking for something actively. Save. That word, the Greek word that is translated into, obviously from probably the Aramaic. Here's what it means. Save means to heal. So he says, I'm looking for, in order to heal things that are lost. Now, here's the kicker here, everybody. That word lost means broken. It doesn't mean you can't find them. It means broken. So what if every day, as we go through life, we're looking for people that feel broken and we're going to try to heal? What a life that is. I love that life. I love that life when I'm riding in an Uber. The driver, how are you doing? Well, okay, it's been kind of tough. Well, tell me about that. Well, my blah, 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 blah. Oh, man, that's awful. Tell me more. And start to, and I'm seeing, oh gosh, that's, you know, have you tried this? Or here's a book you might want to go online and check this out. Or, and, you know, I felt that way in my life. And when I felt that way, and when I feel that way, I asked Jesus to help me. Have you ever talked to him? Well, no, you know, and I've had someone say, it's funny you say that, you know, my lad, and you can tell God's, you know, my relatives were talking to me about that, or a friend was telling me, we don't know the degree to which we can help heal, but I was in the hospital recently and a lot of people showed up and each person played a tiny little part. I checked in, a lady took my name, said, sit down over there. And then they come and call my name. And somebody took me into the operating room area. And then somebody took my blood pressure. And somebody else came and said, I'm going to stick an IV. And somebody else took my blood. And then the anesthesiologist came in and said, dude, I'm going to knock you out. Let me tell you how I'm going to do it. And he started to explain how he was going to put me under. And I said, Doc, how much is that going to cost? He said, it's free. I said, it's free. He said, yeah, I'm not going to charge you to put you to sleep. I'm only going to charge you to wake you up. That's a joke. He didn't say that. But then after him, my surgeon came in. And then they went to an operating room and there's a whole team there. So look, it's not your responsibility to be the hospital. But what a great privilege it is that we could just play a tiny little part in a word of encouragement, looking for that which is broken. So when we're back to the question, when you're looking and seeing your daughter and you're seeking to help her get healed of these addictions, and probably sex addictions or relationship addictions or whatever, you're not being judgmental. Being a good mother, maybe father. Guys, let's not shy away from entering into brokenness when we see it in the people that we love. Somebody you need to call today, baby. Say, you know, I've been thinking about you. And it makes me sad, some of the pain you've been going through with this relationship or this anxiety or this depression or this addiction. You know what? I want to help you get some help. Or let's go out for coffee. Or whatever it is. Okay. What is the best way to tell my 30-year-old daughter she may have PTSD? She's been fighting with me, blaming me, and getting easily triggered. We experienced an armed robbery when she was around 8. Well, first of all, thank you for your concern for your daughter. She's 30 now. Best way to tell her that she may have PTSD, I probably wouldn't do that. And I probably wouldn't assume if she does have PTSD that it only or did come from this particular incident, and everything you said may be true. I just wouldn't tell her that. Okay, because it also may not be true, right? She may not have PTSD. The symptoms you describe here can come from a number of things. But what you are saying and what you can tell her is, sweetheart, this seems like you're hurting. I mean, that's just true, right? And I wouldn't want you to continue to hurt this way. So, I mean, have you noticed? I mean, how you been feeling and what's going on and blah, 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 blah. And then ultimately, have you considered getting some help? Because I would want a good psychologist or psychiatrist if she has PTSD, who is what they call nowadays trauma informed. It's a really interesting phrase. I mean, it's sad that we have that phrase, what psychologists worth their salt wouldn't be trauma informed. Anyway, that's a different topic. But I would try to be, back to the phrase I use, be a bridge to get her help. I would almost say never, but I would never say the never because some things maybe came close. But I've never seen a family member heal in this way. The person that needs healing or treatment, and they always try, the mother or father is going to be the one that turns them around. But really what actually happens is the mother, father, sister, the brother, whoever that is, can be really, really good at being a bridge to the person that can help in the healing. So get them to counseling, get them into a group. Now, certainly you can be support, and you can even go a long way in listening and all that, and that is very healing. I didn't say that we didn't provide healing. I just said the technical work needs to be done usually outside the family. And that is important. Oh, okay. Let's go here. All righty. Wow. Such great questions. Sue, calling us from somewhere in California, listens on Instagram. I'm in a Celebrate Recovery group, which is a great organization, by the way, you guys. If you are anywhere you are all over the world right now, and you are looking for a really good support group to work on issues in your life, then just look up Celebrate Recovery and see if they have a group in your area. Chances are they do. They are worldwide. And it's just a great, great group. I've been working with them since the day it started, 20-something, 30, I don't know how long ago, but it's decades. And it's just a great group. Says, I'm in a Celebrate Recovery group. I'm friends with a gal in the group. Her husband comes to the group too. Interesting. She told me some concerning things about our marriage, and I'm not sure what to do with it. It hasn't crossed the threshold of our group guidelines. Okay, Sue, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show.
Cloud, can you hear me? Hi, Dr. Cloud.
I can hear
me?
you. I can hear you so well. I all of a sudden feel healed. Oh my gosh, I'm well. Thank you.
Oh, well,
I've been waiting to talk to the person who could do that. Okay, tell me what's going on.
No, okay. So you heard my question. This friend I have she feels safe enough with me to reach out when her and her husband have a fight or have domestic issues. And he also comes to Celebrate Recovery, and they won't share that at Celebrate Recovery. She shared with me that he did throw something that hit her calf a few months ago. And then now recently she messaged me, and then I encouraged her, you need to go to a shelter, you need to go get help, you need to, get help for yourself. And she did. She was scared. She said she didn't want to
wait a
lose
minute.
him and this and that.
I thought you said he. You're still talking she.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. She is scared to lose him, and she will just reach out to me when they have a big fight and crying and stuff and for emotional support. And then I won't hear from her and then she'll pretend everything is fine and come to group and not share. And it's just, yeah. So.
And you said that he comes to the group. What is, when he's coming to the group, what is he doing in the group? What's he talking about? What's he sharing?
We don't share co-ed. It's only gender specific. So he goes into the men's group and I'm in the women's group. So I have no clue what he's talking about, what he's saying or what over there. So I did have to serve with him.
So is this in a church? Okay. Is this in a church?
Yes, this is at a church. Correct.
Okay. And is there a pastor, pastoral care or somebody over?
Yes. We have we have a minister, a lead minister of our Celebrate Recovery, correct?
Okay, so the lead minister probably knows both of them, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's a beginning bridge. What you might do is you might encourage her to go talk to the lead minister.
Right, I have as well, and she hasn't, she's been too afraid.
she said, I don't want anyone to know these things. I'm afraid that he'll get mad at me to know our business and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's kind of classic abusive behavior BS.
Yeah.
Not from her, from
Right.
him. You know,
Right.
you'll imprison somebody. Okay, I would start then with getting her very, 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 very into at least reading about even battered women syndromes. Okay. And gaslighting syndromes and all of this, so she can at least begin to see she is caught in a cycle, in an imprisoned cycle psychologically, and you're the only jail door she has.
Yeah.
Right now she's in jail, and at least you and she are peeping through the bars, right? And so you're very, very important to her. And I would continue to get her, grab her hand and get her to talk to either the pastor and or I would say a good psychologist or someone at a shelter or anybody else besides you, because we got to enlarge the circle, anybody else besides you that can get her talking so they can take the next step of doing some sort of an intervention before this gets bad.
Yes.
She needs protection.
Yes. And I don't know how aware of how much I've talked to her or what, because in one of the instances recently I served with him and he made a couple rude comments to me. I don't get the gist. He doesn't really like me being friends with her, of course. So
that would be very appropriate. That'd be very appropriate for you. That's something you could take to the pastor, because that's not a safe, celebrate, recovery environment. And if somebody violates the safety of that environment, if he did it to you, then he's probably doing it to others. Okay, so that's a step you could take. And then the third thing I was going to say is you can go talk to the pastor, right?
Yeah. Yes. But
Thank
just
you
about my experience, not her, right? Okay.
Or you have an experience. You have an experience with her, and you have an experience with somebody, and if you're too afraid of, whatever she doesn't want to violate, I don't let that go too far. One of the things the psychologist tells every patient they see, everything you tell me is confidential unless, right, you're going to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else or hurt a child or hurt an elderly person. There's all sorts of keeping a confidence is sacred, but it's not.
Yeah.
So is thou shalt not kill.
Right.
But it's not absolute in the sense that it negates other absolutes. And so in order to save her, there might be some point, some intervention needs to happen of some sort. So anyway, it's complicated, but thank you. Thank you for your help. And there's a few things that you can go do. You could talk to the pastor and say, look, I can't use a name. Okay. But what do you suggest I do? And you could commit them to confidentiality. But I think she needs to talk to a shelter. There are hotlines.
Right. Yeah.
She can do that.
The number, the name, she told everything, and she was like, "Oh no," So.
Well, she doesn't have to give a name. Just have her start talking.
Right.
The key is start talking to someone that can help her.
Yeah.
If you ever think she's really in danger, then you can call the police. If something's going on, she calls you.
Right.
I mean, I know all he's done so far is anger, and he threw something once, and I know, but I don't like where this could go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All righty.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Do you are you a boundaries.me member?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes,
Is it any
for the
good?
last few years, and I want to thank you because it's changed my life. That's why I'm in Celebrate
Oh my
Recovery.
gosh.
Thank
Well,
you.
you know what? Here's what we're going to do. And Albie, you got to make a record of this if you're listening. Sometimes
Oh.
Albie's talking to callers.
I'm here.
But you're already a member, you said?
Yes.
Are you a plus member?
No.
All right. Well, you are now. We're going to upgrade you to plus, which
Oh.
means you get access to
Oh.
all of the past seminars and workshops.
Okay, thank you. You're
And
making me
wait a
cry.
minute, we're
Thank
not
you.
done. We're not done. We're not done. I feel like Ed
Okay.
McMahon here. You know, Publishers Clearinghouse. You've won. No. Okay, so here's the next thing we're going to do. We're also going to give a membership to your friend.
Oh,
So
okay.
she can log in, and that'll give her one more
given her the
voice
website.
to hear.
Okay.
Well,
yes, I
you
have
know,
given her the address of the website to check it out too. Yes. Okay.
well, now she's going to
but I'll
have
tell her.
she's going to have a registration number that will get her into the material. So there we go. Okay.
Oh my
We're going
God.
to take care of that.
Okay.
All righty.
you.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you too. And God bless Celebrate Recovery. What a great movement that's been over many, 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 many decades, or at least a bunch of decades. Our friend John Baker, who went to be with Jesus not too long ago, started that. And gosh, what an incredible, incredible reach it has had around the world. Let's go back to the phones. Jessica, who is calling in from Instagram, California, again, has a dating question. I love the dating questions. They're so much fun. Dating is such great drama, right? I've got I have two daughters who are now 21 and 19. And, you know, people talk about, I remember before our girls got to be teenagers, people would come up to me and say, oh, you have a teenage daughter? Oh, wait till they get to be teenagers. And you know what? And I will say this 1,000 times. And if you want to talk about it, I'll be glad to talk about it. I have never had as much fun as having teenagers. That was the time of my life. I wanted to freeze them at that age so they would stay there. Now they're turning into these kind of quasi half, you know what, adults, and they're fun. I love that stage too. But the teen years, how can you have more fun than that? Anyway, and so part of it was hearing about the dating life. And I don't know if you know this generation, if you use this word, I'm too old, but they call it the T. And gossip, T means gossip. They'll go, and you know their friends, everything, and all the people they're talking to, and their cousins, and they say, "Dad, we got some tea." It means we got some gossip. Usually it's about dating. Okay, we're gonna get the tea from Jessica. She's seeing someone and has been on 4 dates with them. She's worried about her people picker. That's a good thing to worry about, Jessica. We all need to do that. I'm worried that my expectations are getting in the way. Are my expectations reasonable? Well, let me tell you, Jessica, if your expectations are this guy's got to be perfect, be everything ever wanted, fill all the categories, and be everything from highly structured to highly creative, absolutely those perfect. He should be perfect. We don't want anybody less than perfect dating Jessica. Jessica, you're on the air. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Dr. Cloud. I'm first off huge fan of How to Get a Date Worth Keeping. So thank you for writing that book.
When did you
happy to be drinking tea with you today.
Let's listen to the tea. Now, where do you live? It says California.
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
San Francisco Bay Area. All right. Well, say hi to Albie. That's where he's from. Okay. So what's going on? You've been on 4 dates. What's wrong with your people picker? You guys a serial killer on the FBI's top 10 list, and you're kind of thinking, well, maybe he's got some good parts. I don't know. He seems sweet.
No, I think in the past, so this man is completely different than anyone I typically have gone for, which is why I'm like, okay, keep going. There's no red flags.
That's
I'm
great.
28.
How
He is
old are you?
25.
28. You're
I'm
28. He's 25.
He's yes. And he loves the Lord, serves in the church. But I think just like he's not, the men I've typically dated have been like leaders and are more, what's the word, like planners. And this guy has been very casual in how he treats me in dating, where, you know, we've gotten coffee or it's just a hike, or he's very casual. And he's even said, I'm just kind of a casual, you know, dater, and hasn't really, I mean, he's been respectful of my boundaries and my space. But
No, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
yeah,
Hang on a second. When you say he's been respectful, what does that mean? Does it mean that there have been instances where you've had to really set some boundaries, or he's never tried to cross space boundaries or anything? What does that mean?
he's never tried. He has,
Okay.
he shared pretty early, like, I don't want to do anything that you're not comfortable with, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's, well, I don't know if it's awesome. I think that's like non-sociopathic. I mean, that's not a high bar. What do you want, a cookie, Joey? You want a cookie because you don't want to do anything she's not comfortable with? We're not talking about Super Bowl material. That's permission
okay.
to play.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not fall in love because you finally found a guy that won't do something you're not comfortable with.
Sure.
Right?
I think
Okay.
you're right. I'm worried. I'm worried about the chemistry piece, Dr. Cloud. Are my expectations for this man reasonable? We've been on 4 dates now. I don't think about him during the day, and sometimes he'll text me and we'll chat, but I don't know. I don't feel myself kind of like, I guess, in the past how I felt for other people. And there's no red flags. And so do I just continue getting to know him at this casual pace, or do I cut it off because I don't have that like heart beating fast?
Let me I want to just say a bunch of broad comments. Okay. And this is a great question, by the way. A lot of people obsess about this. Do you remember in the book, How to Get a Date Worth Keeping, where I said, dating is just a great social sport, right? It's fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm trying to see it as fun. So yes, I know what you're saying. Try to see.
Okay, well, then if you're trying to see it as fun and he's no fun, then you're done, right? Because that doesn't fit into what this is about. But the other side of fun, and the reason I said that in the book, dating is not only, you're looking for the one. Dating's not like job interviews where you're looking to hire somebody for life. Dating is like, has a value in and of its own. So I would want people going on lots of dates that the reason I'm going on the date is, wow, that's going to be fun. Some guy says, hey, there's this great play and I've got tickets. Do you want to come with me? That is not Greek for, do you want to get married and have my babies? It's English for, do you want to go to a play? Right?
Yeah.
And would he be somebody you want to go to a play to? So if you don't have the requirement that everybody you date has got to hit the husband bar, or at least the exclusive bar, then if you are enjoying going out on casual things and hikes and stuff that your heart doesn't beat about, then who cares if you go on more coffee dates with somebody that your heart doesn't beat about? I mean, it's fine, but it may be a waste of time ultimately. I don't know. Are you having fun?
I am. I just feel like within the church there is this pressure to commit when you date within the church, that it's like, okay, you've now gone on 4+ dates. Dr. Cloud, I wish the world saw, or the Christian world saw dating as that way and more casual and comfortable, but it feels like men are treating dates like they're the Super Bowl, like you talk about. And I don't, I feel this pressure that I have to commit to this guy.
Why? I mean, no, you just told me why. Dumb question, Henry. Stop it. That's the why, but let me give you a verse. Romans 12. Do not conform to the patterns of this world. So why? Because these goofy Christians think if you go out on a couple of dates that you got to marry somebody. I would turn to them and say, no, we're not serious. I'm just hanging out. In fact, I'm dating a lot of other people. Why do we have to do what the goofy Christians tell you to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think taking the pressure off it is huge. And he and I kind of did have that conversation, and he said he was okay with us continuing to take it slow like this.
That's fine. And also if you're going out with other people, I mean, there's no commitment here to exclusivity, and I don't hear a reason to commit to exclusivity. Listen, I'm going to give you 4 C's that are important. Okay. Ready?
Ready.
These aren't in any particular order either, because once you put them in an order, then you think one of them is less important to the degree that, okay, we could maybe, if I got 3 out of 4, that's good. You said something about your people picker, here we go, right? Character, okay? Honest, doesn't lie, cheat, or steal, unfaithful, not narcissistic, not impulsive, can talk about things without having meltdowns and anger and all that kind of stuff, right? So solid guy, right? Character. The second one is competency. I'm a little worried about that one based on some things you've said, but competency means has the skills and abilities to do life. He's got a competent life. He's financially, doesn't have to be rich, but does he know where his last year's tax return is? What's his credit score look like? Meaning, you follow me? Can he show up and like run a life? An adult's supposed to be able to run a life and be going somewhere and all of that. So competency, which I don't know if that's true or not. He may be the most laid back Elon Musk we've ever seen. So competency. The third one is chemistry. And you said that's lacking.
Yeah.
It's lacking. And the fourth one is culture. I don't think you have to be from the same cultures. Now, what's culture? Financial, religious, socioeconomic, ethnicity, all of those cultures. One of my daughters dates somebody from another culture, like extreme different culture. That's great, but they're both comfortable with integrating into the other one's culture. See what happens? The problem is when you can't cross the line. So nothing wrong with continuing to go out. I want you. If I were you, I would be advising you. I'd say, yeah, but be going out with 20 other people too. There's nothing that would prohibit you from that. But just watch for the 4 C's. And if you're bored, stop doing it. But I'm going to tell you one more thing. I have seen the scenario that you're talking about. All of a sudden, after something happens, she or he breaks through their type, and this person and they go, wow, I'm suddenly attracted to this person like never before. I question whether that's going to happen because he sounds a little bit passive to me in the way you describe it.
Yeah.
And I think you've been maybe hyper attracted to overly aggressive in some ways, and that's not good either. So anyway, hope that helps.
No. It does. I love those 4 C's. Thank you. That was really helpful.
Okay. Call me back. Tell me what happens.
Right. right. Thank you, Dr. Cloud.
Okay. God bless you. What a fun day we've had being together here. It's been great to be with you. Those of you who have put your questions in, we didn't get to, call me back. I'll be back. I'm always back, right? We'll be here. Don't forget, upcoming webinar on trust. Can I trust you? Is the title. 2 hours live, February 21st, right here on all the dynamics of trust. If you've been betrayed, how do you pick somebody trustworthy? If you're in a relationship at the beginning, how do you go further, and should you go further? And are there red signs, and are there red lights? And after somebody's betrayed you, how do you fix it? And can you trust them again? And what are the elements that build trust in a good relationship? All of that going into this webinar called Can I Trust You? Sign up for that by going to boundaries.me/trust, boundaries.me/trust. And also, while you're there, check out boundaries.me. We've heard a number of people call in today who said they are members and they have loved it. I love it. It's favorite thing that I do besides being with you. It's all part of it together. And that's it. Okay, carry on. Fight the war against dysfunction, developing herd immunity against dysfunction, one dynamic at a time. That's what we're doing here. We're all getting better and healthier, and that pushes the dysfunction back into the ocean where it melts and sharks eat it and whales swallow it and it doesn't exist anymore. It's not like Jonah. It's not going to pop back out in 3 days. It's going to be digested and pooped out. That's our mission. Okay.